Good morning. It is the 11th of December, which means a happy birthday to myself. So, welcome to the podcast. My name is AJ, and let's get to it. Now, today is obviously my birthday, so it's a nice day to be going out and having a little walk in the morning and getting a good jump on the day and just kind of having a little bit of me time before the ladies of my life wake up. So I went out last night. I had like a little couple of Christmas do's I was invited to, so I went along to those. I'm not a big drinker, so I drove there, drove back. It was fine. But this is kind of like my dad tip of the day is, if you know you're going to be out late and there's potential to make things easier, you might be sleeping in the spare room. Make sure if you're going to get up early that you've put like some clothes in the room prior, so that you don't have to try and sneak in and run the risk of waking everyone up. So I'm currently walking around in what I wore out last night. So a pair of suit trousers with some smart shoes, but luckily I had a different top in that room anyway. So that's my little dad tip. Now I haven't massively thought about kind of what I wanted to talk about today. It was just I just knew I just needed to get out and film something. I had a listen back to the audios of what I filmed the other day, and this mic actually picks up some decent sound. So there is the odd bit of interference at the moment, but I have ordered one of the little things that go over the top to try and reduce wind noise and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll arrive today, which means if there is any sort of windy interference, you might get a little bit today, but moving forward it's going to sound much better, which is nice. Something I'm really looking forward to this microphone is the fact that it opens up a lot of possibilities of doing like on the street kind of interviews. I've seen so many bits of content where people are like in a town centre and they're just going up to people with their phones and asking questions. At least, with this mic, it at least looks a bit more professional. Obviously I need to sort out a cameraman, so that'll just be calling in some favours with some mates now and then. But yeah, I get excited about the possibilities of the content that I can create. And I've said this before, this is also part of my problem, because I come up with loads of ideas and then it's the actual execution and the follow through that sometimes I have so many ideas, I want to try and do so much that I end up bogged down and not actually achieving anything in any of those areas. So that's one of the issues that I sometimes face, and I've got kind of a bit of a clear pathway, let's say, in mind, that hopefully is going to be good. Definitely, hopefully it's going to be good. And every time I go on these little walks in the mornings, I always listen to a podcast on my way down of something that interests me, and something like that. So it's kind of a nice way just to listen to something. And with all this sort of content ideas and stuff, I was thinking like, what if this actually takes off? What am I going to do? How am I going to fit it into my life if I need to try and make this as consistent as possible? Because sometimes life gets in the way in a big way, and it's very hard to fit everything in. So I was envisioning, the best case scenarios of stuff, like what happens if. So my first one was, what happens if I started to make some money off of my streams and podcasts and stuff like that? And I was like, well, I think the first thing I'd probably do would be to like outsource video editing to someone who's much better and quicker at it than I am. And not like the little like TikTok clips, I'll probably still do those myself, because I can kind of do those, but like the YouTube side of stuff, like edit my videos so that they're a bit more suitable for YouTube, that would probably be a good one. Also, I realise my voice is nice and deep at the moment, so I've got a bit of a cough, bit of a cold coming on, so I've got that sexy the sexy cold low voice coming through. And now, one man challenges the world. Oh yeah, got that voice going down beautifully. Maybe I should do that. Maybe that should be my intro. One dad decides to do a podcast while walking at 6 a.m. It's pretty much waffle, but we're gonna listen to it anyway. Something like that. Anywho. Anyway, right, back on track. So, I still think, like, the original plan was that I wasn't going to start streaming until about January, and I do believe that is going to still be the plan. I've still got a few bits I want to do before I feel the stream is ready. I've still, as I was mentioning yesterday, I need a brand name. I need a brand name that I can slap all this under, and I can put on my socials, my Facebook, my TikTok, and my streams. Now, as a streamer name, because every gamer has one, I will probably just stick to AJ. Nice and simple. And it's professional enough that I can use it on all forms of content. You know, if I was just streaming games, I might have stuck with Agile. But if I'm doing like motivation, self-help kind of stuff, then I feel like I need a bit more of a professional name. And one day, obviously, I want these podcasts to have a lot more direction. At the moment, they're here for me to kind of talk ideas out, just motivate me getting up in the morning and ticking a box, getting something done. But obviously not, you know, you're not going to want to tune in every time just to hear me have a conversation with myself. So there's a certain level of direction that these podcasts are going to need to take soon, so that they actually become worthwhile. So I think the way in which I'll probably do that is, when you upload your podcast, you can say like what season and episode it is. So I think season 1 is going to be these types of ones. Season 2 is going to be more directed content, and I'm going to advertise it that way. So whenever I'm out and about and doing like a little waffle talk, I'll bung that in season 1. So if people don't want to listen to that, because that's kind of going to be the raw, unscripted, unedited version of me chatting to myself and kind of working out a direction for the content. That's not going to be for everyone, but the season 2 episodes will be much more focused. They'll have like key points and everything like that. So those are the ones that people will probably be a bit more interested in. So that's that side of stuff. It's the brand name. The brand name is what is getting me. I got to come up with something good, something snappy, something catchy, short, sweet, meaningful. And I don't know, you think it's going to be easy, but it's not. Like I said, I can come up with ideas, and like just sort of walking around here having a think of trying to get a name that has like dad in it, so that it kind of links with the podcast, and kind of going for a bit more, you know, down that sort of route. Even then, I'm still struggling to come up with something, you know. And this is the other side of it as well. I hear so many times you shouldn't wait until it's perfect. You just need to crack on and start, because making a start is harder. And it will help you get into the routines quicker. Now my brain instantly goes, nah, we got to make sure it's pucker. We got to make sure it's perfect first. Now obviously, because I'm not massively skilled in editing and streams and stuff like that, it isn't going to be in my mind completely perfect, but there's certain things I know I can do that I want to get ticked off before I start. So like having a name, having a brand name, having a logo, having all my overlays, having all my alerts, all the simple stuff. So in my head I'm putting up a mental barrier already, that I can't start until I've got this logo and this brand name. And that's the only thing I'm concentrating on. And in my mind I can't do anything else until that's done. And I know that's a bad thing to do. Like I could be going in and streaming now. I've got the cameras, I've got everything I need to do a stream. But if I want a fresh start and I want to do this properly, my brain says I have to have the brand, I've got to have the logo, I've got to have everything linked, so that as I'm doing my streams, I know how I'm connecting everything. So then when I'm talking, it's all focused. And I think sometimes, just in life in general, some people are a bit like that and it can hold them back. So when I do projects, that I am passionate about and that I want to do, this is how I sometimes get. I get bunged up on one or two details that I can't take that step back and really just crack on with it and get it started. And then I almost force myself into a procrastination kind of cycle, because I'm just consumed by one element of it. My brain doesn't allow me to focus on others. And I know people who are like that just generally in life. They can hyperfixate on one or two elements of their life and not take a step back and realise that actually something that's going on is really good and enjoy it properly, or even notice that something is bad and they need to focus on that to fix it. And a lot of I'm reasonably good at reading people and reasonably good at helping others find solutions to issues and stuff like that. And one thing obviously I'm learning every day is the whole being a dad is that you can't procrastinate. There was a couple of days ago that I had a couple of hours to myself, and I was like, I'm gonna get some work done. Got the laptop out, and for the entire 2 hours I sat there looking at names, trying to come up with a name, and I didn't come up with one. So I wasted 2 hours. And I'm sure parents will let you know when the other half takes the baby out to do something, and you've got a couple of hours. That's prime time to try and do something that you enjoy or relaxes you, or just have a bit of time. And I ended up getting myself like a little bit more stressed because they'd come home and I realised I'd done absolutely nothing for 2 hours. One thing I'm definitely noticing is if I'm going to continue doing these types of podcasts, I need something that is not going to mean I have to hold up my phone for 20 minutes. It's starting to ache my arm. Yeah. Oh. Well, that was fun. Had to just temporarily pause that there. I believe someone who works in the building right next to where I do all this had some questions about what I was doing walking around with a little microphone in my hand and pointing my camera with a light on. So yeah, that went well. So apologies for that. I had to have a little temporary time out. So I'm walking away now. So as I was saying, need to potentially find a way of getting the camera up without me having to actually hold it up for 20 minutes. And now also looks like I might need to potentially find somewhere a bit more isolated to do these. Which, again, another issue, but also a potential solution. With the new role that I'm starting in January, I have a couple of consistent shifts, which means I can consistently do a stream. Granted, it would be early because it wouldn't take away any extra time away from the family, which is great. So it would have to be like 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, but I could still stream for potentially 2 hours. Now, great to begin with. However, my stream studio, the way I've set it up, is directly underneath what is going to be my daughter's bedroom. When she goes in there, I don't know how loud I can be before I wake her up. So that poses another problem. So I've mentioned that to my other half, and we're going to have a listen today. I'm going to go in the studio, do some loud talking. She's going to let me know how much she hears, because potentially, if that's doable, then that means I can stream early morning once, twice a week, and it has zero impact on family time, which is perfect, absolutely perfect. If I want to do an evening stream, that is going to cut into family time. So there's got to be good with it, got to be smart with it. But yeah, I feel a little bit thrown off now, because now my brain's thinking, right, well, where can I go and do these in the morning? I quite like that area because it was a nice little walk around path, no one comes along. But then I've just been bothered for like 10 minutes by someone who literally walked right up into my face before they even started talking, and was just like, "What are you doing?" Ooh. Like, friendly guy, and like technically, he didn't tell me to do one, but if, no offense mate, if you're going to chat to me while I've got a microphone and a camera pointed at my face at a time when I'm clearly not wanting to chat, fine, you do you, mate, you do you. Anyway, so yeah, let's try and bring this round to like a little bit of a point to take home with yourself. So let's focus in on that potential procrastination idea that if you hyperfixate on one or two key areas, you potentially do yourself more harm on the bigger picture overall. So next week's task, take a step back, have a look at the big picture, and then hone in on the bits that you can control, the bits that you can manage, the bits that you can push forward with, rather than focus on a point that you're stuck on and then let that stop all progress whatsoever. So whether it's your own personal training, work life, home life, if you've got a few things to crack on with and you just can't do one, step back, reevaluate, push that to one side, go, right, what do I need in order to get that one done? Right, I will focus on some other bits while I put together the stuff that I need to get that one done. So for me, I probably just need to have a chat with the other half, do some Googling, and just spend some time, just come up with as many ideas as I can, and then sit down, pick 3 that I think are good enough, and then just pick one. And that takes a little bit of time, so I want to try and get that ticked off next week, because that's what's holding me back at the moment, because then I've still got a week and a half, 2 weeks before January, where I can, if needed, if I can't create it myself, if needed, I've got the time to get the logo done for me. etc., etc. So that's my key for this week. Take a step back, reevaluate, get your how are you going to complete your tasks sort of written down, and then smash it. Right, thanks very much if you've been tuning in, and I will see you soon. Take it easy.